All right, hey folks, here we are. Now, I'm going to tell you why I'm doing this and what I'm doing here. I was speaking to my coach about what I want out of life. I told him I want to, like, what I gain the most value out of and the most fulfillment in right now, and what I want to be in life is a great husband and a great father. He's like, no, that's not it. Excuse me? What? He's like, no, you already are. You're already a great father. You're already a great husband. Like, that's something you're already working on. You're putting a lot of effort into that. What else do you want? It's like, oh, okay. So, long story short, I told him I don't really tell anyone this because I have a lot of insecurities about it. But the thing that I want out of life, I want to be someone who is called up to speak at conferences and workshops. That I have an influence on a wide swath of people in the realm of healing and creating connection and creating adventure. That I want people to feel that they have a vibrant, thriving life, and that they are building a vibrant life for their family as well. I want to be in that space. So he said, then do it. Great thing about coaches, they have no issue telling you to do something. It's hard. But what he did say was, you need to come up with something then. Like, if I told you to give a 20-minute presentation, what would you give it on? It's like, lots of things, I guess. So his assignment for me was to come up with a 20-minute presentation. So here I am, giving a 20-minute presentation. I decided that I'm going to do it on something that I do kind of have a unique background in. So here's who I am. I'm Tyler Walker. I am the oldest of 21 kids. I have 5 kids myself. I am 36 years, almost 36. In a month, I'll be 36. I have a lot of experience with family relationships in my own personal life, obviously. I have a wife. I have 5 kids. I have 21 siblings. I'm the oldest, so I've seen all of them go from baby to adulthood. And I still have my youngest sibling right now is 4? I don't remember how old he is. Anyway, so that's my personal experience. My professional experience is in that realm as well. I went to school. Originally, I was going to do medical school, took chemistry, hated it, failed, and I was like, I'm done. Longer story than that, but that's about it. So then I was looking for something else. I found recreation therapy, which sounded amazing. I could play and be part of the healing profession still, the helping profession. Great, let's do it. So I studied recreation therapy in school. I got out. I went and worked in a psych hospital with a bunch of different type of clients. I worked in addiction recovery. I worked in adult acute psychiatric. I worked in like general psychiatric, like depression, anxiety stuff. I've worked. They had a teen unit, geriatrics. I think I said that. I worked in a pediatric residential treatment center. I worked in teen crisis centers. I worked in therapeutic boarding school for girls. So I have a lot of experience with this, and some of these are more family oriented than others, but I have a lot of experience with a lot of different people with recreation, using recreation. So I was like, that's what it is. That's what I'm doing. And honestly, one of the core values out of my life is family and having fun, having adventure with the family. Because I found that when I am experiencing adventures with my family, that's when I'm most fulfilled. That's the best I can come up with out of life. So that's where I am. Yeah. So let's get into it. Why is recreation important? Because it's fun? Yes, and more. You don't know it. Okay. This is actually a song I really love. I love country music. I haven't listened a whole lot lately, but there's an old song that I think is perfect for this thing. It's called Just Fishing by Trace Adkins, I believe. Look it up. The song's amazing. And that is what recreation is. That's what I want for my family and to help others have in their family. It's this dad and his daughter sitting fishing in the lake, catching some fish, and she's telling him all about her life and what was going on at school, and they're connecting, and the dad's like, she thinks we're just fishing. Like, I'm about to tear up with this. It's not just fishing, right? When you are doing fun activities with your family, you're not just having fun. You're creating memories, you're creating connection, you're creating a meaningful life so that your kids can trust you, can believe in you, can have fun with you, they'll adore you. And that they can grow on from that to then have their own life that's thriving, an adventurous life. So when you're having fun with your kids, you're not just having fun, you're not just fishing. So that's the core of why recreation is important, all right? But let's get into a little bit of the like science behind it, I guess. Recreation is really important because it provides the balance in life that it's not just work, right? All work and no play makes dad a jerk or makes a miserable home life, right? You don't want to just be working. That's not a thriving life. That's not a balanced life. So recreation is that balance. It's that opposite spectrum of things you have to do for survival, and then the things that you choose to do for fun, for fulfillment, for engagement, for satisfaction. It's a no-pressure environment, right? So work and things of survival are high-stakes games. You have to perform, or you will die, literally, in some cases. Or you will be on the streets, or you won't eat, or you... whatever, okay? Recreation doesn't have that. It's low pressure. You can just engage and play and explore. If you fail, guess what? You haven't failed because you're doing recreation. The only way to fail at recreation and leisure is to not do it. That's the only failure there is. There are better forms. There's more fulfilling, more satisfying ways to recreate and have leisure, but you never fail at it if you're doing it, okay? It's a really easy way to create shared experiences with your family. Sure, you can have shared experiences engaging in work and things of necessity like cleaning your house and things like those create shared experiences as well, but really it's through leisure and recreation that you have a shared experience with your family, and those shared experiences are essential for relationships. You cannot have a relationship if you don't have things to relate over. You have to have shared experiences. Now, a little side note, I don't know if you've seen this, but there are studies that the actual event is not actually the most powerful aspect of going on a trip or going to do something fun. It's really the anticipation of the event that creates the biggest impact on your life. It's the anticipation. And then afterwards, it's the reminiscing about it. So the power in a singular event is the anticipation and the reminiscing. So creating those focal points, those events, to give your family something to look forward to together, to prepare for, to be excited about together, and then afterwards to remember what you did and remember how you worked together, how you had fun, how you created those memories. That's the power, and that creates the bonds that don't break. Okay? Recreation gives you the freedom to express yourself. It is inherently creative. Creativity is not just artwork, right? You're not painting. You don't have to sculpt anything. That is creativity, but creating something is about giving more value, creating something out of nothing or something out of chaos. So you're creating family bonds. You're creating meaning out of life, and you're exploring what that means with recreation. It's a voluntary. Recreation is voluntary. You're choosing to do it. It gives you power, gives you the ability to choose what you want out of life. Gives you a chance to laugh and have fun. So many studies on the power of laughter. Laughter is the best medicine. It's not having a good doctor, eating well, and exercising right. Like, laughter's not going to heal you from that stuff, but laughter is the best tool to having a positive, thriving life. And then a chance to explore your identity. So this is kind of related to the other ones. It's through recreation, through our choices that we make, the things that we have fun with, the things that we can engage in without stressing about it being life or death. That's how we can explore who we are and what's important to us. And then I wrote this twice, I guess, a little bit. It's about as that important, guys. Recreation fosters connection. That's where it's at. That's why it's so important to families. Now, a little bit of how to define recreation and leisure. I know, I was like, do we really need to define this? We kind of do, because when we can define it, then we can intentionally choose things to give us the benefits of recreation and leisure. It's kind of funny, in the professional world of recreation, that's kind of an oxymoron, isn't it? But in the professional world of recreation, there's a huge debate about what is recreation, what is leisure, and we all know it's not that big a deal, but there's some opinions on it. There's for leisure, to me, leisure is like the overarching term, right? Leisure is everything. Underneath that is like recreation and play and stuff like that. Um, but leisure, there's three ways to define it. There's one way is leisure is time. So leisure is anything that is something you choose to do in your time, anything that happens in the time that is not work or essential for life. Okay. I don't love that because I think there's more to leisure than just existing and not working. The other one is leisure is activity. So again, it's really similar to time, but it's activity bound. So it's like this thing that you're doing, if it's not work or necessary for survival, that's leisure. Again, I don't truly love that because some things we do when they're not required of us are still not leisure. And then some things that we do for leisure are someone else's torture. Okay? So I don't love binding the definition of leisure to a specific type of activity or thing you do. I love leisure being a state of mind. Now there's kind of a few things that go into that in creating the state of mind, the state of being that is leisure, that is recreation. So for you to engage in something and have it count as leisure and recreation, it needs to be something that you have perceived freedom over, that you choose to do it, that you are not bound by external constraints to do it. All right, it is something that you intrinsically are motivated to do, an activity that you actually enjoy, not one that you're doing because I have to get through this to get this reward, or I have to do this so that I avoid this pain. Okay, it's something that you actually want to do because of the activity itself. You have perceived competence in it. Competence, not confidence. That you think that your skill level roughly matches the challenge level of whatever you're doing. So that you think, hey, I can do this, or it's just above. So if you really want the flow state of mind, and we can talk about flow later, but if you want the flow state, then your skill, you need to believe your skill, and your skill actually has to be a little bit below the challenge of the thing, but it's like, I can do this if I give it my all. That's flow. Or if your skill is way above the challenge that's boring, it's like whatever, this is mundane. And then the last one is that it gives you positive affect. Of course, if it's leisure, it's going to fulfill your life. It's going to give you satisfaction, that warm glow. It's going to give you a sense of autonomy, that you have control over your life and that it is fulfilling your soul. Right? So that's it. That's my definition of leisure. I love it. That your perceived freedom, that it's intrinsically motivating, your perceived competence matches the challenge, and that it gives you a positive affect and sense of control over your life. Okay? That's how we define it. So now that we know what leisure is, now we can intentionally choose how to engage in leisure and recreation for ourselves and for our family. Now, there's a lot of challenges that go into this, right? If you're just worried about yourself, it's a lot easier to choose things. But when you were talking about the family, I'm sure you've come across this, guys. Especially like when I have 5 kids. I have a 10-year-old. I have a 10-month-old. And the ages in between that. So far, it's not too much of a challenge, right? Because they're all younger. They all enjoy watching the Disney animated movies. They all enjoy just going out and playing tag. So it's not been too much of a problem. But when you start getting the wider age gap, so when my youngest is like 5 and my oldest is 15, that's going to be hard. It is so hard to match things that are intrinsically motivating for both of these people and that matches their perceived skill to the challenge. So there are some challenges there, but then also the challenges of time. That's a huge one. How do we make time for leisure and recreation with our family? So because it's so important, we do need to, but we do know that we also have work. We also have to do dishes. We also have to clean the house. We have to make food. We have things that we have in life that we have to do. So that brings me to the next point. Okay, in a family then, recreation and leisure have different functions. And I really like the core and balance model. If you look that up, the core and balance recreation model, family, leisure. They define different forms of leisure in your family, different purposes. Okay, so core leisure, core recreation are the things that take less preparation. They're kind of a daily thing. They don't have to be super intentional. It's that comfort level that this is what we do as a family. That's things like eating together. And okay, core and balance is going to change depending on the family. For me, eating dinner as a family together is core. It's something we do every day. It's just expected. It's a time that's not weird or uncomfortable. It doesn't get us out of our comfort zone as a family. It's just something we do. And it is leisure because we freely choose to do it. It's intrinsically motivating, and I want to eat. I can eat great, right? And it gives me a positive affect, gives me that time to connect with my family. So it's core for our family. For other people, it may be balance, and I'll get into that. But core is something for your family that doesn't take much preparation. It's usually inside the home. It happens regularly, and it doesn't put people outside of their comfort zone necessarily. That's core. Okay, balance are the things that take more preparation. It's usually outside of the home. Usually, it gets you out of your comfort zone. Is a huge one for balance, right? It's something different. You need both of these in a family. Like I said, for me, eating dinner together is core. For some families, it might be balance because it takes a lot of effort to do it. They have to, it's not something they're all comfortable with, like sitting together for an hour eating dinner at the same table. Like, oh my gosh, what? Okay, it gets you out of your comfort zone a little bit. And that's fine. If that's balance to you, that's balance. I would challenge you to make that core at some point. But if it's a balance activity, that's what it is for now. And do it because it's important. So the reason we need both core and balance. Core is what provides the glue for the family. That's what keeps you together, right? That's the bond, the shared commonality that you have together. It creates the family culture, the family identity. Now, balance is what makes your family grow, right? If you go out of your comfort zone together as a family, you are learning that we can do hard things, that we are resilient, that we can face adversity, even though it doesn't have to be all that hard. But it is something that's different that we have to put some intentionality behind, and it creates memories more than core does, right? More distinct memories. So you need both. Now, if they're out of balance, if you have a ton of core and no balance, honestly, if you're going to choose to be out of balance one way, be out of balance that way, right? Have your core. Then if you have only core but no balance, your family's not really growing necessarily. You're not learning and exploring and creating a more expansive identity and creating resiliency in you and your kids. Okay? But if you have all balance, no core, that's when you get into the teenagers who hate going on the family trips. They would rather spend time with their friends because why would I go out and do this? Like, we don't even like each other. I barely tolerate you. I go in and I grab something for dinner and I see you for 5 minutes as I say hello and then go to my room and do homework, right? Why would I want to go on a 5-hour car ride with you? That's the problem if you have only balance, right? The balance activities can actually be detrimental to the family if you don't have core with it. It can create resentment. It can create power struggles that just do not foster connection. Okay, so you really do need both. And if you're going to go out of the way to do one or the other, do core. Make core happen. Find a way, at least on a weekly basis, to connect with your kids. I am working on this thing. I should probably just get it out there now that I'm saying it. I am working on this thing to help people learn how to daily connect with their kids. And it's like, people don't really need to learn how to do that. Like, they kind of already know, but it's more of a reminder that I'm going to do it myself too. I'm going to send a daily text of, hey, takes you 5 minutes max to do these things. Sometimes they're only a couple seconds to do these things. Do it. Connect with your kids. Things like getting in a tickle fight. Things like splashing water on your kid as they're doing dishes. My kids love it. It's so fun for them. Giving them a horsey ride, reading a book to them, or like stealing their nose. I got your nose. Now, my kids are younger, so you're going to hear some of these younger things. But if they're older, right, some of these core things you can do to connect with your kid is just, hey, tell me about a time that you laughed today. Or putting a note in their lunch. Or what are some older things you can do? You can, just throw a ball together. Or what do they like to do? You can tell them a dad joke. Dad jokes are awesome, guys. They're awesome. Anyway, there's lots of ideas. I have a list of them on how to create core recreation, but you need to do that. You do, if you want a strong relationship with your family and kids. So to wrap it all up, I know it's a little disjointed. I'll refine this as we go, but to wrap it all up, recreation is important because it creates a family culture. It creates the bonds you want as a family. The core balance is the glue. The core recreation is the glue. The balance recreation is what grows your family, gives you resilience. If you can find a way to daily connect with your kids, to create leisure. Remember, leisure is something that you choose to do freely. It's intrinsically motivating. It gives you positive affect. If you can find ways to create that daily, that's huge. Oh, there's the timer. Stop. There we go. Okay, I'll be done here in a sec. It's huge, 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 huge. And then you can build off of that and then go off and do the balance activities, right? You can go to the pumpkin patch. If that's super easy, guys. It just takes half a day. You can go to the family movie, go to the movie theater together. Unless that's core for you, unless that's something you always do. For my family, it's more of a balance activity. Do things that get your family outside of the comfort zone, experiencing new things together. And that's going to do wonders for your family life. There's a lot of other things that goes into being a good dad and father, but it all boils down to love. And we've probably all heard the cliche, kids spell love Time. So spend some time with your kids and they're going to love you. And you're going to give them a strong sense of self. You're going to give them a strong sense of adventure and resilience and courage. And they're going to go out and just rock this world. I know I'm putting a lot on the shoulders of recreation, but seriously, I have a huge testimony of the importance of recreation as a family. So there's my little presentation. I really enjoyed doing it. I am a little disjointed. I want to refine it, but you guys, I think this feels right. I think I want to be the guy, a guy who has this figured out for my family and can share and give tips and help others. So look forward to it. Okay, if this is something that you enjoy, that you want, then let me know and I'll keep going. Even if you don't want it, I'm going to force it down your throat because you all need to play with your family. Anyway, we'll see ya.